crying for herself, not Queen. Tom Bower shows Meg's true colors as pretended cry in Queen funeral. Revenge author Tom Bower fiercely criticized pictures of Meghan Markle crying at the Queen's funeral when he appeared on Monday's installment of Dan Wootton Tonight on GB News. Tom claimed the Duchess of Sussex was crying for herself, certainly not the Queen, in a brutal swipe at the American. Dan hosted a special installment of his GB News show where he interviewed experts about the late monarch's funeral, which was held in Westminster Abbey on Monday. The royal family, including young Prince George and Princess Charlotte, were in attendance at the sombre event, as were the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Meghan donned a black caped dress and hat as she stood in the row behind King Charles III for the service, which was watched by millions around the globe. Dan mentioned to Tom how emotional Meghan appeared at the service and wondered if the Duchess was close to the Queen. He sarcastically replied to the broadcaster, "Was she emotional about it, Dan? I mean, did she shed a tear, or was it an act of a Hollywood actress thinking I better do a gesture to suggest a tear?" Pictures of Meghan welling up at the funeral have surfaced, with the Duchess seen wiping away her tears with the black gloves she had on for the service. Tom continued to lambaste the Duchess, adding, "The only person that Meghan, I think at the moment, is crying for is herself, certainly not for the Queen. After all, she had been pretty rude about her in the Oprah Winfrey interview." Meghan and her husband took part in an explosive tell-all interview with Oprah last year which sent shockwaves around the world. Tom claimed, "Of course, she wasn't close to the Queen, and if you remember from my book, I had this astonishing quote. On the very morning of the Duke of Edinburgh's funeral, the Queen said to a close aide, 'Thank goodness Meghan's not coming.'" He claimed the monarch could see through Meghan and knew the damage the Oprah interview caused. During the Oprah interview, Meghan described her brief time as a senior royal as almost unsurvivable, adding that she struggled with suicidal thoughts. Following his scathing critique of the Duchess, Tom was able to provide some kinder words about her to GB News viewers. He explained, "I thought Meghan today behaved properly, she didn't try to attract attention. But the suggestion she was wiping away a tear, I think it was just a scratch." Harry and Meghan Markle were reportedly uninvited to a state reception hosted by King Charles on Sunday. The Duke and Duchess received an invitation to the event earlier this week, but palace officials say the reception is for working royals only. The confusion over whether Harry and Meghan will attend the receptions follows mixed messaging over the prince's right to wear a military uniform during funeral events. Meanwhile, crowds of mourners continued to line up to view her coffin in Westminster Abbey, some waiting up to 14 hours to pay their respects. Britain also observed a national minute of silence for the Queen. A muted Big Ben rang its bells at 8 p.m. to mark the start of a national moment of reflection. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex established a new life for themselves after stepping down as senior working royals. Megxit, when Harry and Meghan stepped down from royal duties and stopped using their HRH styles, made headlines around the world in 2020. Prince Harry and Meghan have been interviewed several times since their departure from royal life, including by US talk show host Oprah Winfrey in 2021.